In the meantime, I will introduce myself. I'm Professor Louisa McCabe. I've been teaching at City Tech for 20 years. For the past 9 years, I've been doing it online from France. So I'm living in France. It's a 6-hour difference. So it's, what is it? It's 5 past 5 in the afternoon here, and it's 11 a.m. over there. And that's why I schedule your meetings in the morning. The latest I can sensibly have a meeting with you would be about sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon, your time. But hopefully we'll be able to just organize them all so that they're in the morning. Good. So you should have accepted your invite to Dropbox. Has everyone done that?
Yes, I did.
So everyone got in
Yes.
to Dropbox, no problem. And you see week 1, and that's where your essay goes, and that's where your 3 projects go. If you haven't had a look at our Brightspace page, have a look and see what's there. You don't have to download all the course materials yet. You can download them as you need them, but just see where they are. They're in the contents section. By the end of this meeting, at least we will have our meeting schedule set up. Your essay goes in the first week folder. Our one-on-one meetings will be on Zoom with this link. We'll just use this link all semester long. And if you haven't made up your mind about your scheduled meeting, you can do it by the end of this meeting today. We can figure all that out. So for a portfolio, some of you know exactly what you want to do when you graduate. Some of you have a job already. Some of you are really scared and you have no idea what you're going to do when you graduate. And some of you are somewhere in the between. And for portfolio and for graduation, this is normal. This is all okay. This is what we're going to figure out this semester. And we look honestly at your experience and your body of work, and also where you want to go with it. And if your body of work is not reflecting what you need to get where you want to go, we'll fill in the holes this semester. We will also be looking at your projects and improving some of them. Like a lot of your projects will be from classes that you took a year or 2 ago, and you're just much better designers now. So we will go back to them, review them, tighten them up, make it stronger, and also expand them. So if you have a print ad campaign, we'll add some digital to it, add an animation to it, do a billboard, or do an animated poster. We'll take the stuff that you've worked really hard on already, make it much stronger, and then expand it. Because it's really helpful for employers to see in your portfolio that you understand how to take a look of something and put it over lots of channels. And that goes for pretty much whatever you're going to be doing, whatever focus you're going to have. Because as designers, we can go into advertising, marketing, promotions, branding, book publishing, magazine publishing, graphic design, photography, signage, wayfinding, web design, social media, UI, UX, motion graphics, illustration, TV, movie credits and filmmaking, broadcast design, animation and content on all the social media platforms, which I just kind of said, and all of which are starting to integrate AI into their production schedules. So maybe you want to do these things. Maybe you want to do some of them. It's possible to gather enough of your skills to focus into all of these areas, but it means that's what we have to focus on this semester. So here's a job ad I found recently, and it says, our client, the creative team of Global Food Brand, is looking for a remote senior designer with AI prompting experience to help their team on a project. You need a portfolio that demonstrates an excellent eye for design and photography, strong retouching and photocomping skills, excellent skills in Creative Suite, especially Photoshop, experience in designing for a variety of assets, including signage, digital, etc., the different channels that they want, experience with AI tools, knowledge of Adobe Firefly is a plus. So it's already becoming something that's necessary for you guys when you're looking for work. By the way, have you done any playing around in AI? Anyone?
A little bit, like when it comes to like getting ideas or like needing
Yeah.
something to think about, like that's when I use it, but not really like that.
Well, it's funny because it becomes a question of words and writing and being able to express yourself, because you need to express yourself to the AI to get it to do what you want it to do. And then no matter what happens when it comes back to you, it's not going to be quite right. So you have to think about what words you want, see how the AI is not doing that, and then, adjust it to make it do what it's supposed to do. It rarely comes out the way you want it to. So demonstrating that in your portfolio is not a terrible idea. If you say, this is what the AI came up with, and this is what I did with it, that's something that you can put in your portfolio. So Elizabeth Bolanos, sorry. Hello?
Yes, it's Bolanos. Hi, good morning.
Hi, can I just see your face for a sec? You don't have to keep it on. I just want to
Sure.
be, welcome you. Bolanos Maldonado, that's right.
Yeah, sorry, I just have the sticker over.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for turning up. Good. So I'm just talking about the portfolio class. So, oh yeah, so Firefly, have you used AI of any other kind than Firefly? Anybody?
No.
Okay. Well, one of the reasons that corporations like Firefly is, first of all, most of them use Adobe products anyway, and Firefly just comes free with the whole package. But the other thing is, a lot of people are getting sued for using copyrighted material because the AI will go and suck up other people's projects and grind it into something that, is supposedly made by the AI, but is in fact made by all these other people. So Adobe uses only things that are out of copyright for their AI, which is good because it means you don't get sued. But it also means that everything looks a bit old-fashioned because all the out of copyright stuff is from like 50 years ago. So everybody looks like a hippie, or they're wearing bell bottoms, or big afros or something like that. So again, something to be aware of when you're demonstrating your AI skills, that if you're going to show stuff using Firefly, you got to update it. You got to make it look like right now. So, okay, so in your portfolio, it can be projects that you have gotten from your classes, obviously, from any kind of freelance that you've done, from an internship that you've done. If you're working in the industry already, work that you've done for your jobs, but also, freelance stuff, stuff you've done for your friends or your family. If somebody had a birthday party and you did a poster for them or an invite for them, all that stuff can go in your portfolio. But also you can do stuff that you do for fun. I'm going to do some superhero thing. Put it in your portfolio. If it's good, put it in your portfolio. And in addition to that, what's very useful is to put in evidence of your process. So you do rough drawings of stuff, AI versions of stuff, and then you develop it and you show the stages of your development. It will show the employer how your creative brain works. And that, again, is also very important. It's always, so the stuff that you do for fun, it's like eye candy. It's like, oh, look at that. That looks really cool. Put that in your portfolio. People love to see stuff that surprises them and intrigues them. Some of you do really beautiful typography, or you do some cool little animation. Even if it's not for a client, just throw it in there. So some of the stuff also might be not as good as you want it to be, or you did it in your second year and it's terrible. So if you've put a lot of effort into something, what the project is, you can just update it with your newly developed creative skills that you've been developing over the last 2 years. And you can say, okay, I'm going to take this. I remember what this is all about. Now I'm going to make it really spectacular. That can go in your portfolio. So my role here is like a creative director, but if you're in an agency, a creative director is getting you to do what they want you to do. But in this class, I'm trying to get you to do your projects better. So I'm helping you develop your aesthetic, not my aesthetic. But a lot of this stuff is, you know, the kind of critiques I'm going to give you is like, I can't read this type, or this color looks a little bit basic, or this is an old idea, try something a bit fresher. And if you have, like I said before, if you have a strong campaign already, just add more channels to it, which will enhance the message now that you're just more familiar with more channels. Now, I had one student who had a great portfolio already. She was just a really good designer. So she spent the whole semester learning to do this one cool thing in After Effects. And she got really good at it. And she did this amazing project. And it was just like the sort of icing on the cake of her portfolio. Now, that's not most people. But it is an opportunity. This class is an opportunity to sharpen your skills in certain areas. And something like After Effects is a really good thing to have on your list of software. Even if you just know the basic idea of how it functions. Have you guys taken After Effects courses or any animation courses? Anybody?
Yes.
What'd you take?
I took principles of motion graphics, I believe, last semester. And then prior to that, I had done a little bit of After Effects in my multimedia programming class at BMCC.
That's great. Oh, BMCC, right. Okay, yeah, we'll
And
talk about that.
I'm
Yeah,
in 3D animation now.
so stuff that, even if you don't want to become a full-time animator, just having that as one of the tools in your toolkit is a really good thing to have and a really good thing to show off. And honestly, I think everybody should have at least one animation, if not 3 animations, you know, little, you know, an animated logo or a tiny little GIF or something, just something to show that you think in terms of animation being something that will enhance a project. So you have a big project, you have a little animation, that's great. So in the real world, when you're in an agency, this is what happens, is you do a project and you show it to your boss and they show it to their boss. The boss comes back with some feedback, you change it again, you go back to the thing, you talk about it some more, they add some other stuff, they change their minds. There's this whole process of refining. So this class is like that. However, you're not being paid yet. And so the pressure is kind of off in that way, but then the pressure is also on because you're going to graduate soon. But we're still not in the real world yet, so it's okay. So we at City Tech, we have a lot of competition out there. There are students graduating from Parsons and Pratt and RISD and General Assembly and FIT every semester and a bunch of other design schools. Students from the top design schools all over the world are also coming to New York to try and get a job. And now that remote working is so much more normal, they can live in France, like I do, and compete for work in New York without leaving their kitchen table. But you guys can go toe-to-toe with them in the design industry and come out ahead, and plenty of City Tech graduates already have. That's why this semester is challenging. A lot of you will be taking senior project as well, and all those final classes that you got to take. And portfolio is the one that gathers all that stuff together and puts you into a package that can make you join the design industry very successfully. A lot of City Tech students are doing really, really well right now. So have a bit of confidence. This is a good school. And honestly, a lot of the people that teach at City Tech also teach at those other schools. I taught at Pratt and RISD different times. Others of your professors are already teaching there too. So they just have fancier campuses, but City Tech is really good. If you're on Facebook, there's a page called Ask a City Tech Grad. And it's basically interviews with City Tech graduates who have successfully entered the field. And it's pretty impressive. And if you're feeling underconfident or just overwhelmed by all the work you have to do, go and watch some of those guys and it'll cheer you up. I'm going to try and add some more this semester. So at the end of the semester, I require a website and a PDF version of your portfolio. The department requires that you have 3 to 6 projects, depending on their complexity, and that will include the evidence of your process. You also need at least 1 animation or a TikTok or a reel, however you want to, project that. And a bit of eye candy would be a plus. But the thing with the 3 to 6 projects is that sometimes you have a gigantic project, and that'll be sort of, 12, 14 elements in it. And that counts as 2 projects, basically. But it's different for everybody. So I'll talk to you one-on-one about how you personally will be able to finish this course successfully, have enough stuff in your portfolio. Now, there is this kind of rule of thumb, which quality over quantity. Have a couple of really good projects rather than lots and lots of subpar projects. That's true. But those guys coming out of those other schools, they have a lot of good stuff, honestly. Having a minimal amount of projects, I just think doesn't look that great. So think expansively. Go through all your projects and revisit ones that, are ancient, that you haven't looked at for a long time. You can probably scrape something together out of that. Or you can just invent something out of your brain and add to your pile of projects. I just think having a lot of really good stuff is just going to really serve you well. As you finish your project, so basically you'll be working on 3 projects at a time, and you'll upload it to Dropbox, and I'll put new folders in every week. And you always put your projects into the latest folder. So you'll always have 3 projects on the go. You won't be finishing every project every week, but there will be a process. And at some point, me and you will decide together that this project is finished. Then you upload it to your website. If you don't have a website, get one. It can be a freebie one, like Behance or Portfolio Box or Cargo Collective. Squarespace does not have a free option, but I think Wix and Weebly do. If I haven't put a list of these on Brightspace yet, I will be putting one up there. But the problem with having an Open Lab website is that you're going to graduate and you're not going to be at City Tech anymore. And that's kind of like a school project place rather than a professional website. Now, eventually you'll want to get your own domain and call it, you or whatever your company is going to be. For the moment, a freebie, a Behance site is perfectly fine. An Adobe site is fine as long as you realize that it's only going to exist for as long as you're paying for Adobe. Now, you're getting it free through school now. When you graduate, you'll have to be paying for it, which is, how much is it now? $700 a year or something like that. So you might want to be thinking ahead. It's like, I don't want to have to make that decision about Adobe yet. So I'll go for a freebie somewhere, or I'll pay for a Squarespace and get my own domain name now. Give it some thought, get yourself a website so that as soon as you start finishing your projects, you can start uploading them to the website. And then by the end of the semester, everything will be there and you don't even have to think about designing it. Yeah, nice template. You don't have to code anything. It's great. So I will meet with you on the Sunday or the Monday time that you want. And you will take the feedback that I give you in our meeting and improve your work. Now, doesn't mean you do exactly what I say. What it means, I'll say, this thing needs attention, or this thing doesn't quite make sense, or this typography is not looking terribly legible. You will improve it in the way that you want. As long as the issues are addressed, that's fine. Do it in your own style. But they do need to be addressed. You can't let it slide because that's the way these things start to look unprofessional. And sometimes I give you tons of feedback. Sometimes you have a huge project and it just goes on, and I say this about this and this and this. I don't expect you to get everything done every week. It gets to be out of control after a while. So what I do expect is some stuff to get done every week. But that's going to start from week 1. Every week you improve stuff. Every week some things get better, and every week hopefully some things will get completed. There is a sort of school mentality where you say, okay, I'm going to bust my butt at the end of the semester. I'm going to hand everything in, and everything's going to be okay. I might get a crappy grade, but so that doesn't work here. It doesn't work here. You have to improve it week by week by week by week. Otherwise, you cram something in at the end and it looks like a student project. What you want at the end of the semester is to look like a professional project. And that only happens with that careful refining over and over and over again. So next week, in addition to updating your project work, please send me your resume. For now, for this coming week, all we need to do is talk about the information that's in your resume. So you don't need to design your resume yet. If you have a designed one, that's fine. But I'm interested in the content. And on the first class flyer, which hopefully you downloaded and read, there's a resume outline, which is on page 3, I think. And it shows you everything that you need to include on your resume. Now, even if you have your resume already, just review it, because design resumes are different than ordinary resumes. And you're not applying for a retail job. You're applying for a design job. So you want to separate out your experience that's design experience and your experience that's other experience, 2 different sections. Lots of detail in the design section and minimal detail in the other section. We will talk about more of this next week, but try and take a look at your resume and get it as full of information as possible. We can get the resume out of the way quickly because sometimes it can go on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So try and get that out of the way up front in the beginning of the semester. It'll make yours and my life a lot easier. Good. And start thinking about your network. Just don't do anything about it. Just start thinking about it. And your network is anybody you know, basically. Your friends, relatives, people you meet on internships, professors that you get along with, students that you're pals with, even if they're not design students, friends of the family. Your network is way bigger than you immediately think. And if you're not signed up to LinkedIn yet, create an account this week and link to anybody that you know, but we'll be revisiting networking later in the semester, but at least get the account so that you can start the process of developing your network. Any other questions about projects, resumes, Brightspace, anything at all?
So for Sundays, I was just wondering, would we be meeting this upcoming Sunday? Is that what that means?
Or maybe tomorrow, yeah. So make sure your essay and your 3 projects are put into week 1.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone taking senior project?
Me.
Yes.
Has anyone taken senior project already?
No, I'm taking it next semester.
Semester. Okay. So senior project is like a keystone of your portfolio, but that doesn't count towards portfolio class. Because the problem with that is if, your 3 to 6 projects, one of them is senior project and you fail senior project, then you automatically fail portfolio already. So they're 2 separate things. But it also means that you fill up your portfolio with lots of really good work. And so you're focusing with that professor And then all of a sudden, at the end of the semester, you throw it into your portfolio. Now, I love seeing people's senior projects because they're always really fascinating. But I don't really want to be in a position where I'm giving you feedback on it and your professor's giving you feedback on it. Sometimes people are in a quandary. They say, I can't decide between, and then I'll maybe, pitch in on something. But for the most part, get your professor, develop a relationship with them so that that's your go-to person. Also, sometimes people really don't get on with their senior project professors, and that's a whole different story. But that's also extremely rare. For anyone that has doing a senior project next semester, you're in good shape. That's good. You can get the portfolio all set up and then just slot the senior project in the following semester. Okay, so I'm going to go over your schedules one by one when I talk to you tomorrow and on Monday. If nobody has anything else to ask me, we can call it quits. So you sure? You sure you're good, everybody? Good? Then no more questions, right? No more questions? Okay, well, I'll see you at your appointed times. And if you see anyone else on the list of people that are in our class, which is on Brightspace, and you run into them and they didn't turn up today, tell them to get in touch with me as quickly as possible. Okay, see you later.